The Subaru Outback, one of the OG adventure cars, has been kicking around and getting dirty for 30 years now. It's almost old enough to realize its favorite rock songs are beginning to trickle onto classic rock lists. It's not there yet, but it's getting close. Me, I'm nearly 15 years older than the Outback, so my music is already there. We're not here to talk about that though. We are here to talk about the Outback and how it's evolved over its 3-decade run. Let's take a walk through the different generations of the Subaru Outback and maybe see if there's one in there for you. The Subaru Outback name first appeared as a trim package on the Legacy wagon. You got two-tone paint, different wheels, cloth interior trim, and some fog lights. There was also a version of the Outback trim package fitted to the Legacy SUS, the sedan version, but it was called the Limited. Subaru would offer what's considered the first gen of the Outback from 1995 through 1999. There's also a variant of the Impreza wagon called the Impreza Outback Sport, which features the two-tone paint plus a hood scoop despite not having an actual turbocharged engine. The Outback became its own model, however, with the start of the second gen beginning in 2000. Subaru offers it as both a wagon and a sedan still too. The base engine is a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine that doles out 165 horsepower and 166 pound-feet of torque. That engine is backed up by a 4-speed automatic. The other powertrain available, however, is the 3-liter flat 6. It makes 212 horsepower and can be paired with a 5-speed manual gearbox. Even better with the trims and optional extras you could fit on these things. Subaru offered a 200-watt Macintosh sound system, a slightly rear-biased all-wheel drive system on the VDC version of the car, and the hallmark trim of the day, the Outback LLB. This one gets you dual moonroofs and leather trim. Honestly though, the best bit of Outback news from this time, the fact that actor Paul Hogan was a spokesperson for the car. The second-gen Outback runs from 2000 up to 2004, and prices seem to range from the low thousands for high-mileage examples up to just over $9,000 for this super clean, low-mileage 2003 model. Jump up to the third-gen Outback, and we still have the option of sedan or wagon, but the sedan only runs from 05 through 08. The wagon, however, goes from 05 through to 2009. Powertrain-wise, we now have a base non-turbo 2.5-liter good for 175 horsepower. The 3-liter flat 6 is up to 245 horsepower, but the big news is the addition of the 2.5-liter turbo 4. This one cranks out 250 horsepower, so it's packing more grunt than the 6. The base engine gets a 4-speed auto, but the turbocharged XT can be had with either a 5-speed stick or a 5-speed automatic. There were rumblings of Subaru bringing its diesel powertrain to market here too, but that never came to be. There's sad news for LLB fans though, as that special edition dips out in 2008. Regardless, there are plenty of third gens for sale on Autotrader right now, some with high mileage sitting below $1,000, while the nicer ones seem to hover between $7,000 and $10,000. There is this very cool looking 2.5 XT as well, but nearly $19,000 feels like a tall ask. Alright, we've arrived at the 4th gen Outback, which runs from 2010 to 2014. This wagon, and it is wagon only now, has grown quite a bit. The cabin has more room and the wheelbase is longer too. The turbo goes away for this run, which is a shame. Instead, you can choose between the 2.5-liter flat 4 or the flat 6. The base 4-cylinder engine is paired with either a 6-speed manual or CVT, but you can't get the stick on the 2.5i Limited trim, so keep that in mind. Over on the 3.6, it's only offered with a 5-speed automatic. That 3.6, by the way, is now rated to deliver 256 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. The 4th gen got a nice update in 2013 when Subaru stiffened up the chassis, tweaked the suspension, improved the 4-cylinder engine when it switched from the older EJ to the new FB, and tweaked the front-end styling. You can find this gen with examples well under 50,000 miles. I even saw one with under 20,000 miles. Price-wise, we're looking at low thousands for high mileage models on up to the low to mid-teens if it's a low mileage, really clean example. Okay, let's move on to the 5th gen Outback. Its size has grown enough that although it still looks like a wagon, it's technically classified as a crossover. In terms of the powertrain, it's a choice between the FB 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that produces 170 horsepower or the 3.6 liter flat 6 that's good for nearly 260 horsepower. Sadly, your only gearbox choice is now the CVT. Our friends in Canada could snag a 6-speed manual version, but only up to 2017. Regardless, the 5th gen Outback has some solid new features including X mode, hill descent control, steering responsive fog lights, and a better nav system. Then in 2018, the Outback gets a styling upgrade, plus the audio system now features Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration. Finally, in 2019, Subaru makes its EyeSight driver assist feature standard equipment. 5th gen models were from 2015 to 2019, and you can find tons of high mileage examples for well under 10K. On the flip side, the lower mileage stuff sits in the high teens to the mid $20,000 range depending on the trim and the powertrain. Okay, finally we've arrived at the current gen for now. The 6th gen Outback debuted for the 2020 model year and runs through this year. Your two powertrain options are the now 182 horsepower 2.5 liter or the 260 horsepower 2.4 liter turbo 4. The big news here on the 6th gen, of course, is the introduction of the Wilderness model for 2022. Still, all versions are now running with at least 8.7 inches of ground clearance, while the Wilderness pushes that just a bit further to 9.5 inches. The 6th gen looks good, but it gets a style update in 2023 and also has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The style update arrives for the Wilderness in the 2024 model year. Finally, Subaru adds the turbo engine as an option for limited and touring models. The 6th gen is still quite fresh, and I have model year specific buying guides for some of them, but the price on these could dip very soon because word on the street is that the 2026 Outback is about to arrive and it will usher in the 7th generation iteration. Yes, expect a CVT to still be part of the powertrain packaging, but also expect more refined styling, better than ever interiors and tech, and hopefully a Wilderness model right from the outset instead of a year or two later. The Wilderness stuff sells, and it sells well for Subaru. So with the rundown of the different generations of the Subaru Outback, which one's your favorite? Personally, I love the looks of the 1st and 2nd gens, but it's hard to argue with the power, capability, and comfort of the current stuff. Give me a new Wilderness, and I'm setting off to get it covered in dirt with a big old smile on my face.